Guys, today we're going to have a little discussion on my two favorite belay devices. One for climbing and one for the commercial use. So I use these guys when I climb. I use these guys at ropes courses and when I do high angle work for my job. So the first one is going to be the Edelrid Eddy belay device, and that's the EDDY belay device. These guys are awesome. This is probably my favorite belay device. I've been using these for 10-15 years when they first came out. Absolutely amazing devices. Okay. Then these guys here are what I've replaced them with in situations where I need something to enact immediately. So they're almost, as you can tell, if we come up closer here, they're basically the exact same device. One, they have a couple different features that are kind of nice. On the commercial version, they have a little loop here that allows you to tie it off to you, so if you're lacing rope through it and things like that, you don't worry about dropping it, which is kind of nice, because you do have to open it, to get to it. And the devices internally are identical. So they change a little bit for the commercial on what they mark it as, like an anchor instead of a person on the outside. But basically the devices are identical, okay? Now the one thing that is different, you'll notice there is a little ball bearing in here in the Eddy that is not in the SIR. And this is the Singing Rock SIR device, so SIR SIR device. This is their commercial version from Singing Rock. It is a awesome device. I use these at work. I use them. I've been using them for several years now. About 3 or 4 years we've been using these at work instead of these, and they're amazing. They last forever. I mean, this particular device is, I don't know how many years old. So this one was made in 2001, and as you can tell, there's almost zero damage, and it's been used 11 daylights out of, because they're all stainless steel. Now, the only thing we're testing today is the difference in engaging with the ball bearing. So basically what the ball bearing does is it makes the rope have to jerk before it opens. That's great if you're doing lead climbing. If you're not doing lead climbing, you want it to enact immediately. And that's all it is. They took out the ball bearing in this one, so as soon as you touch the rope, it enacts. So it's always enacted. The brake is always on. Where in this one, you have to jerk it to get it out of that notch to get it to come back. All the rest of the stuff is still the same. Still has the braking when we pull back on the handle and all that. So we're testing that feature today. Okay? So we're going to start out kind of with our first test. And, the one thing I'll tell you about this test is it's a little hard. We're going to do it a couple different ways to kind of show you what the possibilities can happen. Now, it will happen with smaller children. And what we're going to do is we've got about 50 pounds of weight here. And if we pull it up, it will instantly lock. Okay? Just like the other one. Because if we pull it, the center toggle here automatically is already engaged. What can happen, though, is if I take the pressure off the device, lock it, and then let it go. And sometimes it will catch, and sometimes it won't. Okay? Now let's try that one more time. Basically, what ends up happening is if I take all the weight off the device in a situation where we've got a lazy belayer, maybe they're not holding onto the rope or they've actually let go completely, and somebody falls in a situation where they didn't know they were going to fall. So if we take the weight off, and because there's no weight on it, we let it go, it drops to the ground. It doesn't have a chance to engage. Now this is only a few feet. If we're dealing with dynamic ropes, that few feet can be elongated to where it may be 10 or 12 feet. Now in most situations, we'll never have this problem. Because most of the time, as long as the person is holding onto the rope and actually braking, it will never happen. So if I sit there, take all the weight off, and I hold my hand here, it automatically stops. I do it again, and as long as I keep my hand here, it automatically drops. Because it doesn't allow it to start sliding through. But if I bring it back up, take the weight off the device, remember, let go of the rope, it'll drop to the ground. Now, you're saying, oh, that's the problem. Well, like I said, it's supposed to do that for lead climbing, because I want to be able to pay out rope when somebody's climbing up the mountain. We don't want it to engage. But in commercial work, or in ropes courses, things like that, we definitely want it to catch immediately. Now with the SUR, again, it enacts immediately. There is no braking mechanism inside to keep it from doing that. You know, so it's different than your rigs and your IDs and all the other things out there, including the Gree, which is popular. Again, all these devices that, in my opinion, should not be used for this because they're held open. Okay? Now, if we do this one, no matter what we do, even if I take the weight off, let it get going, and drop, it instantly catches every time. Because the brake is never locked open. It is always in the locked position. It instantly catches. So we'll do it again. And again. Even if I want to get it going and let it run, so I hold it open and then let go, it instantly catches. This takes care of your falls on your rope, puts less stress on the equipment because it instantly catches. Now, we're going to do this one more test here. We're actually going to use myself as the item and kind of display how this works. So because it instantly catches, and we're going to try to let you guys see it here, this is the toggle here. If I pull on it and fall back on it, it instantly catches. I let go, I get going, it's always caught. Every single time, it instantly goes into action. So when I pull up on it, it locks. Pull up on it, it locks. Now if I let it go completely, and I let the rope go out, and I fall on it, it instantly catches. Again, I let it go. Even with the rope pulled completely forward, which is another technique that a lot of people use, by pulling from the front, and if for some odd reason the rope was in the front here, we'll let it go slack, we'll push the device all the way to the front, we'll let slack grab, and we'll come back on it, it instantly grabs. Again, let it come from the front, which would be the worst case scenario. Even with pressure on it, it instantly grabs. Now when we've got a device like the Eddy, which is a great device, and I use these for rock climbing all day long, because the biggest thing is make sure you've always got your hand on there. But if somebody was to be knocked out, somebody wasn't paying attention, or maybe a new belayer, what can happen? So we've got this guy, we're going to pull from the front and just come back nice and easy, and you'll see sometimes it catches, sometimes it doesn't. Okay? Where we've got this guy, I'm able to sit there and walk right back, and then sometimes it catches. It's not meant to be an auto-locking belay device. It will lock under pressure. So even the slightest pressure, this is one that it will do, it will catch. So even just having my hand on it in any position will catch. But if I take my hand off the device and let it go slack, you have to get speed to get it to happen. This can cause an accident when people depend on the device. I don't think you should ever depend on either one of these devices. Any device out there should always have your hand on here. These are a backup to the person, in my opinion. You know, it always is here. And then as I'm releasing down, you know, the thing I see a lot of people do is they let go. And they're using the handle of the device to release down. This is never okay. The way these devices are designed to be used in all circumstances is brake hand, whether it's the right hand or left hand, it doesn't matter. We open the device up, crack the device open just so we can feel the release, and then we let our hand do the release down. That way, if we were to be knocked out, it instantly catches, because we've already started it in the locked position. So that's kind of the difference between the two guys. Remember, these devices have a lot of safeties in them. If you were to be pulling and you're pulling, and open it all the way up, it relocks much better than, you know, your panic pull situation you'll get. And the other thing is, they can't be held closed. So if we had the scenario where we have our button here and we hold them down, and we can do this, but as soon as we get any pressure on them, they will close. And somebody falling, as long as we've got our hand on here, even with our pressure taken off, so if we're going to release some pressure out for, let's say, a, you know, for a next belayer or whatever's coming up, or they want slack or whatever that is, we're keeping our hand here, we can still always, we can never press hard enough to where it won't engage. Okay? We can't push that pressure away. Now, one thing I will tell you is another thing that is fairly popular in some of the older gree devices and things like that is being able to actually stop the device by the carabiner. That actually rolls up and holds the carabiner shut. And there's no way to do that because the mechanism is internal. Sorry for the train, guys. You can hear that. That's a train coming by. So this guy cannot come up here and actually enact and make the device not kick in. So on both these devices, this is a feature we don't have to worry about anymore with that carabiner coming up, over, coming in any of the other directions. Even if it came all the way over the top, the device still catches because it does not cover the actual internal workings. And I'll bring that up and kind of show you guys up here close. So this is a problem that you'll see on some belay devices, that the actual carabiner can come sideways, come up over, and actually lock it in place. This can happen with the early gree-grees and some of the other ones. Doesn't make them bad devices, just means another possibility that they fixed with this design of either the Sur or the Eddy. That it cannot get up there to actually make it work, because as soon as we engage the rope, the mechanism still can move back and forth. And again, even if we loop it like this and actually bring it up all the way over the top, it will still engage, because the rope still has room to move around inside there, and will still engage under pressure. So any direction, they tend to work really well. And as far as instantly engaging, because of the camming device internally not having any locks, it instantly engages. So guys, as always, leave comments. That's how we know whether you like the videos. If you have any questions about it, or where we use the video, or where we use these devices, that's always great. If you hate the video, comment too. I leave them down there. Like, share. That's how we get this spread out to everybody else, guys. And as always, have a great day.